What's up, bros? Thank you guys so much for checking out Mograph Cloner Lite, our newest plugin. So this is going to give you kind of a general overview of the product and what it can do, and its differences between Cinema 4D standard studio version and Cinema 4D Lite. We tried to build in as much functionality to match the standard Cinema 4D to bring it over to the Lite version. So I'm going to show you a couple of different things, and I'm going to show you the different cloners that we've included into the package. So let's go ahead and get into it. I went ahead and created a new After Effects Cinema 4D Maxon Cinema 4D file, called it Mograph Cloner's Lite, then edit and edit original, and then that will bring up my Cinema 4D. Let me go ahead and close that out. So what you'll need to do before you actually open this is install it, and I will show you where to install it. So you're going to go into your C drive, you're going to go to Program Files, Adobe, Adobe After Effects, whatever version you're using, Support Files, Plugins, Maxon Cineware AE, Cineware Support, I know it's very convoluted, Lite, Library, and Browser. And then you'll put this lib4d file, the Brograph Cloner Lite, right into that browser. And you'll restart Cinema 4D Lite. Now, when you restart Cinema 4D Lite, and if you go over to this content browser area, you'll see, once you click on presets, you'll see Brograph Cloner Lite. Double click on that, and then you've got the Grid Cloner, the Linear Cloner, the Object Cloner, and the Radial Cloner. So let's go ahead and start with our Grid Cloner. One of my favorites is the Grid Cloner. So let's go ahead and take a cube, and what we're going to do, similar to standard Cinema 4D, we're just going to drop that underneath our cloner. So now you can see we've got a grid of 3 by 3 by 3 at 200 centimeters distance from each one. So as you can see here, if we jump it up to 4, let me go ahead and scale down this cube so that you guys can see it better. There you go. So we can do 5 by 5 by 3, 5 by 5 by 5. Now this does limit you, unlike standard Cinema 4D. Standard Cinema 4D does not limit you to the amount. It only is by how much your computer can handle. Well, I didn't want to crash you guys' computer, so I limited it to a 50 by 50 by 50. Now, I wouldn't recommend going 50 by 50 by 50 because it will slow your computer down quite a bit, especially if you're doing animation on it or throwing an effector, like a noise effector on there. But yes, so I did limit it to 50 by 50 by 50. But 99% of the time, you won't need to go up that high. But for our sake, let's do a 50 by 50 by 1. And then, so we've got this big, huge wall of cubes, all right, which is pretty cool. So if you need that, you can do a wall of cubes. Now, what's cool about this that we were able to build in is your effector, the ability to use effectors on this. Now, the Grid Cloner is the only one that is slightly different than standard Cinema 4D. Let me open up standard Cinema 4D and I'll show you. So within our cloner, we've got this grid array. And so let's do a 50 by 50 by 1. Whoops. I just deleted it. A 50 by 50 by 1. And let's do per step. And let me bring down this cube just a little bit. Okay, so now you can see we've got this here. So with standard Cinema 4D, you would do a Mograph effector and you would do a random effector, and it would automatically put it on there. Well, that's not the case with Cinema 4D Lite. What we had to do is, one, you'll take your random effector and you will actually need to drop it into your effectors, which is fine. Now you can see it doesn't completely do it. It only does it along the X and the Z axis. So what you'll have to do is you'll need to change this, unless you just want it along the X and Z axis. You'll need to change your effector from random mode to noise. And now you'll see you get that randomness. And then in our parameters, let's go ahead and change it, our Z to 250. And you'll see there we get some randomness along the Z as well as the X and Y. Now this is going to actually, when we've got it on noise, noise is animated like this. So you can see that. If you want it to be static, you can change your animation speed to 0. And then you see you get no movement at all. Now if you want to change the seed on this, just change the scale and that will move it along. All right. Now you can also use your other standard things such as your fall off. Say you want to make it go back to 0. That's your infinite fall off. You could also do a linear fall off. Let's go ahead and rotate this 90 degrees and you can see automatically what it does. And then let's bring this out. Let's bring our fall off out a lot. So you can see as we move our linear fall off, it goes back to 0. Which is pretty cool. That's just like the plane effector if you haven't used that, and we'll show you in the rest. So that's your grid cloner. Let's go on to our linear cloner. In our linear cloner settings, we've got count, offset, mode, and so on and so on. And so let's just drop that into our linear cloner. And you can see it automatically starts off, I believe this one. Let's go to 250. Okay. And so you've got the ability to add more. 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. You can do an offset. You can offset them if you want, which is cool. And then your mode, you've got endpoint and per step, so you can change the endpoint. Say you want 250 centimeters total from the beginning to the end, or if you want 250 centimeters from beginning to the next to each in between each individual clone. You can do it that way. So with our linear cloner, we've also got the transform, which is standard in your Mograph stuff. So say, for example, like if I've got this clone or this cube, and say I rotate it like in a weird way, right? And then I just drop this underneath the linear cloner. It doesn't do that. It doesn't make it super weird like it should. So we can actually go here and we can check out our parameters here. And in our transform, change those to whatever they need it to be. So you can see, and then it'll adjust all the individual clones. And that's the way it is on standard Cinema 4D as well. So if you wanted to adjust the scale, say like make them all half the size, instead of just scaling down your cube, you could do that as well. And you've also got the effectors as well. So we can do like a plane effector or a random effector. Let's go ahead and throw the random effector, and you'll see this one works just the way it does in standard Cinema 4D, where it automatically just starts. And then let's do 250 by 250 by 250. Let's turn up our scale to 1, 1, 1. You see it creates some craziness right there. Let's add a whole lot more clones here. Let's do like 50 clones. And then let's change it to our endpoint, and we'll do 1500. So there you go. We get this cool little, neat little geometric randomness on the cube, which would be cool for like backgrounds and stuff. Now you can even do your randomness where it could be the effector, and you could use the noise as well. So then you get this cool little undulating linear clones. It's pretty cool. That's actually very cool. I like that a lot. So that's basically the linear cloner. Let's go ahead and clear these out. Then we'll go to our object cloner. I like the object cloner a lot. I have a tendency to use this quite a bit. Now, one thing with the object cloner, you'll see in our clone object, the object that we are putting the clones on must be polygonal, however you say that. So what that means is if we were to create a cube, so we created this cube, and we wanted to go into like polygon mode, we can't actually select any of the polygons. It has to be editable. So what we can do is we can click on our cube, and we can either click here, which is make editable, or you can hit the C button. And then you see it becomes like this polygon with 3 points. And then if we wanted to adjust the individual polygons, we could. So say, for example, let's grab that and let's move it out. Oh, I am on access mode. My bad. Let's go ahead and move this out. You'll see it gets bigger like that, which is pretty cool. So I'll start from the beginning. Let's clear that out. Let's make a sphere. The sphere is what we're going to clone, okay? And then we are going to clone it along a cube. So we need to make this cube editable. Actually, I'll clear that out. I'm going to scale it up a little bit. And I'm going to add a couple more segments. So we'll make that editable now and drop that into there. And you'll see all the spheres go onto there. So now let's bring down the sphere, and I can either scale it there or I can scale it in my transform if I wanted. So let me undo that and I'll show you how I did that, how we can do that in the transform. There we go. So transform, so we want it half that size. You can do that there. There you go. Now it's perfectly half that size. Now we have this align clone, and it's going to align the clone to the actual face or the vertex or the spline. If you unclick that, you can see all of them will face upward. The same way that your sphere is facing. If you do align clone, it will align clone to the actual polygon. So we also have vertex mode, where we can make clones all along the vertex. And then we've got this awesome one called Spline. So let's go ahead and freehand a spline. I'm going to go into this top view. And I'm just going to go and create an awesome little spline. And then in our object cloner, we're going to throw that spline here and move this into spline mode. Now you can see there we go. It's only got 3 clones. Let's go ahead and clear out this cube. We can add more clones here. Let's go ahead and add 20. And then let's see, we want to. Oh, that's right. Okay, so you see that it's not an even distribution. If you want it to be an even distribution, you need to go into your spline and you need to change this to uniform. And then it should give you, yeah, there you go, even spread of all your individual clones. So, and then we can even offset it. Say we want to offset it 50% to make everything from the middle on. You can see. There we go. Even 75%. There you go. Cool. So that is basically the object cloner. Let's go ahead and have some fun with this real quick. So I'm going to clear all those out. And I'm going to create a cylinder. I'm going to create a cone. And I'm going to create a super real quick low poly forest. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring this down. So we'll get, this is our low poly tree that we're making. Fantastic. And we're going to throw these into a null. We're going to go create object null, or you can select what you want to put in a null and hit Alt G, and that will throw them into a null. So, and then I need to move the anchor point. If you click on this enable axis, it will allow you to move the anchor point down or however you would like it. And then, so let's just bring it, that's pretty good. All right, and then let's create a little landscape. Boom. And we'll make this a 20 by 20. And then we need to make it editable and throw that into our object. Now you'll see, because it's on spline, it's not going to do anything. So we need to select the polygon center. Oh, I need to drop this into my object cloner. Whoops. There we go. And because we've got a line clone on, we don't want that up. We want it all straight. There we go. Now we can go into our transform. You can either change the scale of the null or you can change the scale of this. So let's go to 0.25, 0.25, 0.25. I still have that 0.5 from in there earlier. Let's make it even smaller than that. 0.1, 0.1, 0.1. And let's see. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right. So, but now it looks a little too uniform. So what we can do here is we can throw a random effector. And then our effector, we can throw that on there. And now it's going to move everything way up into the Y, which we don't want. Go into our random, our parameters. We don't want anything on the Y. We want it to all stay where it is. And then we just want a little bit of movement on the X and the Z. So that creates a little bit more randomness, but they are all about the same size. So let's go ahead and change the size to 0.25, 0.25. Let's do a uniform scale of 0.25. Let's make it a negative 0.25. So then you can see here, there we go. And now we've got a neat little low poly forest. Everyone's doing low poly nowadays, right? So yeah, you got that neat little low poly forest with your object cloner. Cool. Now let's go on to our last one, which is our Radial Cloner. Double click on that. And then I'm going to create just something really random real quick. Let's do a cone. And let's scale up our cone. And then our cylinder. I'll make that out like that. Let's bring down our clones so that we don't get that cool. Okay. Then we're going to throw those all into a null, drop those into your Radial Cloner, and then you'll see within our Radial Cloner we have 5, and then this is our radius. So that's cool. We've got that, and then you can change your plane if you want. This is XY, this is ZY, and this is XZ. And you've got this align. So right now they're aligned all along. If you imagine a circle, they are aligned along the circle by I don't know. How do you say that? They're aligned along the circle. If you do align, it's going to keep them upwards or whichever way you have your null set, and then just evenly distribute them along that circle. Yeah, there you go. So align, I kind of like the align. And then you can change your start angle and your end angle. So say you want that to be like maybe like a quarter of the way, you can just move it like that, which is pretty cool. Awesome. So let's do the whole 360 again. And then what's cool about this, you can also add your effectors to it, your random effector, and then you get different stuff. Nope, random. Let's go 250, 250, 250. Let's do our scale, uniform scale at 0.5. And there you go. Then we get this cool, neat little look. And this is my favorite. The effector, the noise, and then being able to just whoosh, it's cool. Get some neat little movement in there. This is what I did for the box art. I threw a cube in there, and then I brought up how many clones I had, and I did just some noise on there, which is pretty neat. All right, so there you go. Yeah, that is basically our Mograph Cloner Lite. I hope you guys enjoy this. You can pick it up from our website, brograph.com/plugins. If you guys have any questions on it, feel free to shoot us an email, brograph@brograph.com. Thank you so much for checking it out. And if you create anything with it, tag us on Twitter. Thank you guys.